Hello, ma'am. Fine. How are you too?
I'm good.
Okay, so shall we start?
Sure.
Yeah. A very good afternoon and a warm welcome to all tech enthusiasts presented here. I'm Rinku Rathwa, Junior Associates of CSI DDU, welcoming you on behalf of our entire team of Computer Society of India, Student Branch DDU. I want to start by expressing my gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to join us this afternoon. CSI is a group of technical enthusiasts who are willing to share knowledge and are curious enough to exchange ideas on whichever fast emerging sector. Before starting the session, I hope you all have good internet connectivity. If you have any queries or lack of voice, you can tell us in the chat section. We would like you to maintain silence and decorum throughout the session. Any kind of unwelcome instruction will face consequence. You all have the opportunity to hear from some of the brightest minds in the industry. We encourage you to actively participate in the event, share your thoughts, and engage in discussion with our speakers and attendees. As you all know that this is the third season of Achievers on the Line where we will have an amazing lineup of a complete speaker. We will have share their insights and experience on a range of topics related to tech industry. Today we have Krishna Choksi ma'am to share her startup stories with us. She has completed her graduation at Dharmesi Desai University and post-graduation at University of Pennsylvania. She has explored various fields like technical assistant, software developer, and now a co-founder of successful startup. Now, I would like to call Pashwa Mehta, Vice President of CSI DDU, Drashti Patel, Senior Technical Head, Kevin Ranpura, Senior Management Head, to take the event further. Thank you. Yes, hello, ma'am.
Hello, Drashti. How are you?
Yes, fine. Yes, so I would like to start with your college journey. So, can you describe your 4 year college journey as a student of DDIT?
Sure. I think someone raised a hand. Probably they have a question or something. Is that?
I think it's by mistake.
Okay. Right.
Yes.
So
Okay.
basically, I'm from 2007 to 2011 batch. So it's been 10 years since graduation. But the journey was incredible. I can still see the DDU campus in front of my eyes. The computer engineering department, of which I was a part of, has been super supportive of everything, be it academics or be it part of the CSI community. I still remember Siddharth sir leading CSI chapter even at that moment when we were present. So the 4 years actually helped us a lot to handle tough situations. I mean, you know that DDID has a lot of exams as compared to other colleges, right? The internals, one
Yeah.
external, and you get bombarded with once every month. So at times you feel it's quite rigorous, but that helps you actually make a foundation to go out in the world where there are a lot of tougher challenges waiting for you. So the curriculum is extensive, the exams are a lot, but that helps you in this world, the fast-paced world, where you have to actually prepare yourself within a couple of days or couple of hours when you have a meeting scheduled instantly or spontaneously with, maybe a venture capitalist or an incubator or an accelerator. So the 4 years helped me create a foundation of facing the challenges for the real world.
Okay.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes. So now I am curious to know that how did you as a university help you stand where you are today?
So as I mentioned, right, the curriculum is extensive and the course, how it is designed is good, but also the professors are very helpful. So the department head CKB sir has always been supportive. of everything. Wherever, if I needed a letter of recommendation when I was applying to University of Pennsylvania, I knew that these are the professors I want to have the letter of recommendation from, and they gave it to me instantly. So that support has been incredible for from DDIT to which has led me to the next steps of my phase. So just not the DDU phase, but it helped me actually for the other parts of my life as well.
Okay. So, like, did you help you lot? Okay. Now, as you
Yeah.
did your master from the University of Pennsylvania, which is very renowned university, so definitely it will take must have required lots of hard work, right? So, how did you manage your preparation and along with your academics? As did you have
So
so many exams?
so that actually that was a plus point. So when I was in DDU, I used to I used to feel a bit like I feel like I was just working a lot as compared to my friends who were probably in LD or some other college, and they were having a lot of good times more than us. But when I look back, I feel those 4 years helped me to actually prepare for the curriculum at University of Pennsylvania, because when I went there, actually, I was competing with most of the students who were either from NITs or IITs. I understand DDU is also a very good university, but to stand with other IITians and NITs, and at University of Pennsylvania there is relative grading. So it's not like okay, you crossed an XYZ threshold and you have a distinction. So even if you are at the bottom of the chart, although you have 70%, but you are still at the bottom of the chart because of the relative grading. So uh, it was a lot of hard work at the start, and also the whole the factor of being in a different country. But eventually you manage. After first semester, you know that these are the subjects you want to take, and probably you have to accompany a little bit loaded subjects. Like if you're supposed to take 3 credits every semester, three courses every semester, then don't try to chew the bread which you can't eat. Just take 2 hardcore courses and 1 lighter course.
Yes.
Yes, that was quite motivating. So, what cultural and educational differences did you face while studying here and while studying in abroad?
Um, Education wise, they had a lot of emphasis on the understanding of the fundamentals of the subject. The professors used to go deep, very deep into the subjects. I mean, we had a subject on AI, machine learning in DDU, but it was very peripheral. But when we actually, I pursued machine learning in the first semester at University of Pennsylvania, it was very different from what I had learned. I mean, I had touched the surface, I felt, and they actually focus more on the algorithmic and the fundamental parts of it. So those that kind of deep knowledge, and not just focusing on typical bookish knowledge, helps you a lot. Even the open book exams, like you are scared to go to an open book exam, especially because the answers are not going to be in the book, the whole lot of books which you have carried in your bags. So that is tough. That is one educational difference. Like here, that if you have studied XYZ books, you're good to go. But there, it's not like that. And cultural wise, of course, the whole different country vibe. So you meet a lot of people from different countries, and that is actually a good experience. You know how actually they are learning when you do group projects, right? There you get to know what is your approach and what is their approach, and then you will have to collaborate. So that is very interesting, and even the cultural activities are different from what we have here. So it's a new learning curve, but definitely something which everybody should explore if they are planning to go abroad.
Okay. So, do you prefer going to abroad after just BTech, or firstly taking some experience and then go for masters?
So I think both of it works fine, because a lot of people with me at University of Pennsylvania had work experience. There were very few people who did not have work experience. And I'll be very honest, most of the people who did not have work experience were from Gujarat. They were Gujaratis. From other states, they had experience. They were working at TCS, they were working at Infosys in India, they were working at different cities of India. So they had worked for a couple of years and they knew that they wanted to pursue masters so that they could step up in their fields. So they knew the world applications, which we don't know, but it works both ways. I would say a couple
Okay.
of years if you want to work, maybe work like a year or two, but not more, because then you feel in, then you like get yourself into the rut, and after a while, studying is a lot more challenging. So either you can go directly or after working a year or two max for masters, because that also the age factor also gets in, right? You are not actually the super old one who is having problems coping up. You are in trend with the culture. You are in trend with all the students there as well. So you're easy. It's easier to make friends. Easier to collaborate.
Okay. So now moving toward your journey as an entrepreneur, were you passionate about starting up the business from the beginning, and what was the motivation behind it?
I'll be very honest. I come from a business background. My father has been an industrialist. He has been an entrepreneur. I've seen his rags to riches story. So that was one thing which was in me since I was a kid. That somewhere down the lane, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So there was always that factor in me. So even though I was pursuing masters or bachelors, that you can say that kida is always was always there.
Okay. So then, how was your experience from being a software developer to being an entrepreneur?
It's very different. It's very different. So, at first you feel like you are the master of your own. You don't have to answer people and all that. So at first it seems very good. But then when it comes to taking holidays and deciding that if you're gonna take a holiday, that is gonna cost yourself. It's not up to the company. You have to be there no matter a festival, no matter you have social commitments or everything. It's very different. It's challenging. It is interesting. It's an interesting journey. And the software development experience also helped me a lot because my startup required it's an e-commerce based platform. So that also helped me a lot because I knew what was going on in the software industry and what does a software needs to be from a customer perspective, from a consumer perspective. And by working as a software developer, I knew what were the technologies going on and how exactly is it easy to get stuff implemented or how at times challenging it is to push stuff from the development phase to QA to prod phase. So the journey was very interesting, a lot of ups and downs, but definitely I would say very challenging and interesting.
Okay. So, can you elaborate what are the pros and cons of being an entrepreneur and being a software developer?
Being a software developer, you actually get to work on a lot of different projects. If you have this sprints, you have this scrums, and then at times if you want to switch teams, you can actually explore a lot of projects. At first, probably if you're working on Java, and when if you're planning to switch to some other project, and there are a lot of opportunities, then you can switch to the other team as well. Or if you want to shift from a software developer role to or probably more of a full project manager role. So that way, when you're working as a software developer, you have a lot of opportunities, and it's easier to switch, and you get to know a lot of industries while you're working as an entrepreneur. The downside as compared to the plus side is that you are focused on your industry. Your knowledge gets limited to that industry more because that's what you're trying to master it. And when we say the cons of being a software developer is that you get assigned what you have to develop. While as an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, you know that this is the XYZ I want to develop, this is how I want to be. So you have that bandwidth, you have that opportunity to develop whatever you want and however way you want to. So you get a customer perspective as well as a developer perspective when you're an entrepreneur. While as a software developer, you are just in that mode of the development phase. You don't actually see how decisions get made to get a particular software made. You just make the software.
Right.
Yes, so that was quite insightful. So, what do you enjoy most about entrepreneurship? Like, what do you find and what do you find hardest about it?
I love actually how different things get thrown over you almost like every day. It's very interesting. You would not have thought about XYZ and that gets into your face and you have to resolve this. So there are a lot of new challenges and the real world things which happen every day, and that brings its own enthusiasm. So I love solving real life problems and the challenges. So it's interesting. It's never monotonous as an entrepreneur.
Okay. So, like, those were really noteworthy points, that being an entrepreneur is also having some um, good points, and being in software also have some good points.
Definitely.
Like,
You just need to excel whichever field you choose to be, whether it be a software developer or an entrepreneur.
okay, so like talking about business, did you fund your business initially, or what advice you give to others who are seeking for funding for startup business?
So for startup business, we started with Bootstrap when we are still bootstrapped. We had our own funding. So before starting, as you've seen, I was a software developer. So I had some funds saved with me. So that helped me to put it into the startup and just start it. Like if I didn't have the funds, I would have to actually go to the incubators at first or accelerators and then wait for their heads up to start. So it's easier if you have some funds saved with you. So if you have an idea, you don't have to wait for somebody to approve and lose a market opportunity, because market is changing every day. But also, if you have a solid idea and you don't have funds, then you start working on it. You collaborate with the incubator, you start getting in touch with them, and you pitch in your ideas. You make sure how to prepare a business deck. You make sure how to put in projections. So both the ways are okay, but if you know that you are bootstrapping, make sure there is a limit to it, because you cannot go into it endlessly. And if your aim is just to have a valuation, and if you want to be a unicorn within XYZ years and sell it at a valuation, not at a profitability, then you have to go to a venture capitalist. So you have to look into the more of the business side of it, that you have to get it incubated, you have to pitch a business deck, make a business deck, and you have to get a venture capitalist on board. But if you want it like the typical business which usually Gujaratis have, they have their funds, they started, they are not focused on valuation, they are focused on profitability. Then you can
Yeah.
manage it by bootstrapping. So it depends on what
Yeah.
your focus is and what your industry wants from you.
So
Okay,
can
so
you
those were
relate?
really noteworthy points.
Okay.
So, so have you
Can you?
ever felt unsure of a decision you made?
Yes, I'll be lying if I didn't say that. Definitely, when there are lows in the market, we have definitely felt that, especially. So when we started, actually, the demonetization happened. So at that time, when we were approaching sellers to get on board with Moipot, everybody just told us that please wait, because demonetization has shaken our business and we have to get deal with this. And after 1 year, the whole VAT to GST thing, accounting happened. Like nowadays, you guys just know about GST, but before GST, there was VAT, and a major transition in the accounting system happened for that, due to that. So the software which we had built for Moipot, the whole accounting, the invoicing for vendors, happened on the wet system, wet based system, and we had to change it, overnight to make it supportive for GST. So during those times when you get faced with the real life challenges, and you're still searching for solutions, at that time you definitely feel that, have I actually made the right decision or not?
Okay. Now, so how has being an engineer contributed in your entrepreneurship journey? So it must have helped, right? So how?
Definitely, definitely. So for my part, I did not do the coding. Okay. Although I'm a software engineer, I did not do the coding because I had to focus on all the aspects of the business, be it logistics, be it operations, be it marketing or sales. Because an entrepreneur, you have to don a lot of hats. But while I was getting the software made from the other company, I knew the estimations which they were giving either were fair or not, be it cost wise or timeline wise. I knew if XYZ feature was actually feasible to be made or not. So they could not fool me into saying that, if a software requires probably uh, 500 hours to be made, they could not fool me by saying it would take 800 hours instead. So the estimations you get for your project to be made or software to be made are based on the hours when the software gets made. So there they cannot fool you. And when you tell them to implement a functionality, if they outrightly say no to you, you know how it works, and it's quite easy to just transition. Probably at times you just have to make a simple change to the title tag, and it's gonna work. But then they feel that this implementation change might take 2 days, or probably it's not possible. So being a software engineer and having dealt with developing all the softwares, you get actually a good insight and make sure that the software gets developed right for your company, even though you are not coding it.
Yes, so glad to hear that. So, how did you balance work and personal life as an entrepreneur? And what strategies do you use to manage stress and avoid burnout?
So at first, it was very hard to manage both, because as an entrepreneur, you need to give 10 to 12 hours a day into developing. But after a while, well, you try to establish a process, you hire the right people, and you try to delegate work. So by delegating work, that helped us to actually manage the work-life balance. I mean, you have the support of your family, you have the support of your employees as well. But at the end of the day, it's up to you how you delegate the task and how you end up managing it. If you're gonna take all the responsibility on yourself, it's gonna burn you out. So there is only X amount of months which, as an entrepreneur, you can just slog and put in day and night. But after a while, you have to start automating stuff or delegating stuff, so that only that will help you to make a work life balance. But yeah, be it festivals, especially if you see Diwali is like the peak season for Moipot, because we are into the business of sweets and savories. So at that time we can't afford to take an off, we have to be on our toes. So that's just a business thing, so you have to be there for your business during your peak seasons.
So, like, how to validate business idea? Like, how to ensure that your business is
I
able to
think
accept
somebody
that
raised a hand. Do you want to see, or is it by mistake?
some people,
Hey,
yeah.
hello, hello.
Yes,
Am I audible?
yes, yes.
Yes, Nisal, tell me.
So ma'am, I have just one question. As you said, you are in the business of sweets and savories. So, what's your strategy, or what was your strategy to with these local vendors? As means, if I am a buyer, then I would trust some local vendor like the जो हलवाई मेरे आसपास है, मैं बरसों से उनके पास से लेते आ रहा हूँ, तो मैं उनके पास से ही लूंगा. Means, why would I order from someone who is means I haven't seen them?
Okay,
Like
so
online से मैं क्यों मंगाऊंगा?
sure. So Moipot, if you see, it's not like we have just any random vendors. So Moipot is a platform. We have only the famous and the popular sweets and snacks of India. So for example, if you see, we have this Lakshmi Mishtan Bhandar from Jaipur, who was established in 1700s. So that brand is 300 years old. So there you, if you want an authentic Jaipur experience, you might be getting paneer giver besides you for sure in Ahmedabad or in other cities. But that Jaipur's paneer giver and balu shahi will be the authentic ones. जो उसका probably flavor है that you will get. So in even if you consider savories, right? So you get bhakarwadis everywhere. But you know that Vadodara's Jagdish Farsan's bhakarwadi is famous, or
Yes,
Pune's Chitle Bandhu's bhakarwadi is famous.
yes, yes.
So all the brands on Moipot are famous and popular in their localities. So it's for those people who are not able to access those. So right now, if you're craving for authentic stuff of, let's say, Agra's Petha, you know that Panchi Petha is the brand which you have to order. So you go on Moipot and you get the authentic ones. There is obviously an option of ordering from your local brand. But when you're craving for specific taste of your native place, or if you're a foodie and you want to explore the Rasagolla of only Kolkata as compared to Ahmedabad, which is a way, way, way different thing. That is when you come to Moipur.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So, like I was asking, how to validate your business idea, like how to ensure that your business is able to accept that ups and downs in the market and industry.
So this is a very important point which a lot of entrepreneurs miss. They think that the idea is correct in their head. There is a market opportunity, and they just start off. But you have to do a market research for the same. So where the Moipot's idea, when it came to me, was when I was studying in US. I was missing lot of food from Ahmedabad. So as the earlier participant mentioned, that why would I not buy from my local vendor? So there also I was getting lot of Gujju stuff in Patel Brothers stores in US. But the taste there and Ahmedabad ka taste was completely different. So I used to ask my mom to send me parcels of 20 kgs every 6 months. So there I knew that similar thing was happening in India as well. A lot of people, probably and mostly in the IT sector, they end up migrating to other cities. You know, either as a software developer, you will end up being in Bangalore or Pune mostly. So there you end up missing the authentic taste. The khakras of Gujarat are nowhere compared to that of other states. So I was sure there was a market gap. But are people actually ready to pay? Are people are going to actually buy online? That was the thing. So we did a research for it. We did a almost a month long research for it. We created surveys. We asked people. We interviewed people, and we also interviewed the sellers as well, because this is a marketplace. So have to get the perspective from the sellers as well as the buyers. So if you see, our target audience is not of the same city. For example, anybody ordering stuff of Ahmedabad would not be from Gujarat most of the time. He or she will be outside of Gujarat. So the target audience who was situated outside of their native city was the one which targeted. So that's how we came to know, while we were actually targeting Facebook ads or putting out Instagram ads, whom to target. You should not be targeting somebody from Surat for Dotiwala's naan khatai, because it's cost effective for them to just go to the bakery and get them. You should be targeting the non-Gujaratis who are staying outside of Surat or probably outside of Gujarat for Roti Wala's Naan Khatai. So this is the market research we did, and we actually asked people which were the brands which they were missing. For example, if somebody is coming into us and asking us that we want full body. Full body is very, it's a very good savory, but you don't get it at a lot of places. Most of the people don't even know full body exists outside of Gujarat. So then we asked them which brands do you actually want. And then we did a survey of all the popular brands. So if you know Jaipur, Jaipur is the sweet capital of India. There are so many brands, but which one to actually collaborate with? So we did a market research that which were the popular brands, which also had that good packaging that could be shipped outside of their city. We even do international deliveries as well. So we curated the brands which had standard, which were popular, and then we asked the customers about their preference for brands, be it in sweets or savory.
Okay.
Okay, so that were really new and important things to know. So, what were some of the most important lessons you learned during the early stages of your business? And what would you do differently if you had the chance to start over?
Uh, I would say, so see, starting a marketplace, it's a chicken and egg problem because you don't have sellers, you don't have buyers. Without buyers, you cannot sell it to sellers, and without sellers, you cannot sell it to buyers. So we had a lot of trouble thinking how would we actually get sellers on board without having buyers. So what we did was we actually developed the whole prototype website, almost functioning website. You can say it was not even a prototype; it was an MVP. And then we started approaching the sellers that this is the website and we want you on board because we thought that we would need at least something to present to them. But when we actually went to them, they were rarely concerned about how the website looked. Like they just looked at the website for 2 seconds hardly, and they were like, "It's okay. We are interested more into your story and how you are going to treat our brand." Because for the sellers, how their brand gets treated is important because they have made their brand image by working on it for 50 to 100 to 300 years. So for them, the more important element of instead getting orders, it's about the brand image. So the months which we had wasted, I would say not wasted, but we could have actually approached the sellers in parallel. And we would have got off more time into getting vendors on board. We wasted that opportunity by being afraid that if we go to them empty-handed and if we just say, yeah, website is in the making, come on board, they won't. But the reality is different. So that is one thing which I would definitely do it differently.
Okay. So, now, how did you grow your business and attract the customers? And what are your marketing strategies to grow your business?
So see, Facebook ads and Instagram ads definitely help. That is one thing. The things which did not work, that also I would like to bring attention is putting offline ads for them. We put offline ads in magazines, newspapers, in leaflets and pamphlets, which you get in your newspaper. But it
Yes.
doesn't work for online presence or online buying websites because the customer is not going to input or scan the QR code and go to your website. You have to actually target the customer who is already online, so who is already on their phone. So that is either by Facebook ads or Instagram ads. And the other thing was search engine optimization. That plays a major role. So by ads, you are actually pushing to the customer. So there is a concept of push and pull. So it works this way that you either push something to the customer, you sell it to the customer, and you ask them to come to you. But you ask them to give you money. By doing Facebook ads, you're actually spending money and asking them to click on you. But there is another pull strategy, which is through search engine optimization. So when somebody is actually writing Jagdish Bhakharwadi, Vadodara buy online, Moipot's website comes into the first Google result and the person clicks on it. So search engine optimization, if you actually put money in it, starts giving you result after 6 months. So it's a long wait, but after that you are said there is no input of the money. The customer gets pulled to you. You're not looking for customer, rather the customer is looking for you. So that is the pull strategy. So for any business to survive, it has to do a pull and push both strategies. It cannot survive just on the push strategy or rely on the ads. You have to do search engine optimization, and you have to see that after a couple of years down the line, you want customers to come to you, be it a brick and mortar business or an online business. That is the strategy we formed, and that helps us to gain customers. So initial leads, we had to push them. We had to push them the ads. We had to do marketing. But after a while, the pull strategy also worked along with the push strategy. So now we do both. So we understood the importance of search engine optimization when we saw the results coming after a year.
Okay. So, like, how much percent did you spend on the search engine optimization of the marketing? Like, how in only in browsers like Google and that?
So about 20%. See, search engine optimization is not very costly. The ads are very costly. So it takes a very less amount, but you have to keep doing it every month. So probably anybody who is doing search optimization engine optimization for your website, it's gonna charge about 15,000 rupees per month. And when you consider the marketing budget, right, just the marketing itself, their fees, the marketing team's fees would be around 15,000 to 30,000 per month. And the marketing budget is different. So the cost for search engine optimization is very less, but it takes time, but you have to invest in it. So about 10 to 20% you have to invest in the starting. And it also depends on how many pages your website has. So they have to keep on managing. So as soon as you have a new vendor on board, they have to optimize for that vendor as well, right?
Yes. Ah,
So
right.
yes, so it was very insightful. So now, who do you look for guidance and mentorship?
So I would say a lot of people in my industry actually. So I have actually connected to the startup community of Ahmedabad. Since there are a couple of them existing, and there you get to meet a lot of people from your industry as well. So I do attend those sessions. I do get insights from people who have been through such kind of journey, and that helps me a lot. Also, that helps me in networking. And somewhere down the lane, if you know XYZ and that person knows that you have this problem facing, they'll end up connecting you with the right person. So going to such events helps you a lot. You end up getting mentoring. You never know that you're gonna get help from somebody or the other. And also it gives you insights about your industry and what is going on in other industries as well. So be a part of the startup communities and keep on networking. You might meet your next seller there, or you might meet your next buyer there. You never know.
Okay. Right, like you have mentioned that bootstrapping model and all that. So can you elaborate some basic words for which are used by you and normal entrepreneur? Like what are bootstrapping model and what are the other things?
So you want to know. So bootstrapping basically means you putting in your own money. In a
Okay.
normal Gujarati household, it is પોતાના પૈસા નાખીને કાં તો પોતાના પપ્પાના પૈસા નાખીને બિઝનેસ ચાલુ કરો. સિમ્પલ. તમારા ના હોય તો એમના લઈને કરવાના. And so there are fancy words for it. If you don't want to say you took money from your father, you can say you had an angel investor. So angel
Yeah.
investors are different from venture capitalists. They're not going to eat you. Angel investors are actually the angels. They just invest in you. They believe in you. So if you're bootstrapped and somebody's asking you, oh, is this your own fund? You can say no. This is from an angel investor. That's a nicer way of putting things. And people question you that if you're bootstrapped, why are you not looking for incubation? So at that time, you can say that I am looking for incubation centers because incubation centers help you with the mentorship. If you don't have from your industry, even you are from a business background, but your field is completely different usually than what your family's field is. So incubation definitely helps, and you should pursue incubation as well because those terms will come up with you. Then there are accelerators. So accelerators charge you money, or probably they take an equity from you and help you in funding, raising funds. As compared to incubators, what they do is they take equity or they charge you a normal fee and they help you in the mentoring. So incubations help you do start an MVP model, the basic model which you would have. And then there are accelerators who are focused more on the funding, who will get you in touch with the venture capitalist. So there are a couple of things which are usually used in the startup industry, and there are pitch decks. Pitch decks are the business decks where you actually talk about your business and the future of it. And if you're looking for funding, how much funding you want and how you're gonna spend it for next 5 to 10 years. Those are the couple of things which I would say are the general words in the startup industry.
Okay.
That was wonderful to know. Now, what were the biggest challenges you faced and how did you overcome them? Were there days when you hit the rock bottom and how did you tackle that days?
Uh, so as I mentioned earlier, there was this whole demonetization phase which happened. So even before we started off, we had to face. Then there was this whole GST change which happened. Then the pandemic hit, right? So there were a lot of pros and cons about the pandemic, but it was definitely a high and low for the market. So when the pandemic hit, the deliveries were not happening for at least 2 to 3 months. So what we thought was either we might, just stop accepting orders. We can just turn off the buy online option, or we can accept the orders and ask the customers if they want a refund, or if they would be likely to be if they are okay with waiting when the industry opens, the shipping industry opens. So that was a very hard phase where we had to ask the customers to trust us with their money. And at that time, we got to know the perspective side from the customers that they were actually ready to wait. They were like, it's okay, keep our money. Whenever you start shipping, you ship it to us. But I want fresh, because that is what they wanted. Then the pandemic started. Eventually, the shipping industry also started. So we started dispatching the orders and everything. But as the warehouses of the logistics were closed for so many months due to the pandemic, they were infested by rodents. So our parcels, when they ended up reaching the customers, they were actually being chewed by rats. They had the feces of rats inside them. And we figured that lot of the warehouses of even good logistics company like FedEx, they were infested by rats. And because ours was food items, they would come to and chew the items. Some of the parcels you would have, like, they were actually just almost fully eaten by rats. When they reached the customer, they were half open and everything was gone, and it was filled with feces of rats. So at that time, when you get a complaint like that from a customer and you are not aware and you feel you should do the best logistics company, how can it be chewed by rats? And then you start getting a lot of complaints from different customers all over the places. So that's when you feel bad and you feel how we want to tackle such challenges. So at that time, even though FedEx was the topmost partner, topmost company in India, we actually complained to them, but things are not going to be easy and they are not going to get. And then we ended up choosing other companies and we tried, and we actually reached out to all those customers who had faced the problem that we are sorry for this and we are sending you a fresh parcel, but allow us some time because we don't want to send that parcel to the same courier company, and we'll try to dispatch it to some other courier company. And if you want the refund, you have the refund, as well as we'll send you a fresh parcel. So those were definitely, one of the toughest challenges of times when you think that your one phase as a software developer is gone and you are a true entrepreneur actually dealing with the other set of challenges.
Okay. Uh, Good to know that about your experience. Now, I'm curious to ask like how the valuation of any company is done. Like we heard it like pre money, post money, and all that. So can you give some idea about it?
Sure. So the valuation of your company, basically it all depends on how much you are earning right now, not as in the profit, but actually the revenue. So these days the valuation gets done not on profit, it is based on revenue. So even if you're not making profit, 5 times your revenue can be considered as your valuation. That is how, and your projections, what your actually projections are. That way, that so it helps. Basically, the valuation base is based on your projection. So if you're saying I'm going to get my revenue to 1 million, that is going to up your valuation by a large amount. But if your projections over the 10 years are just considering an X amount of limit, it's going to be low. So the valuation game is more of dependent on the current revenue as well as your forecast revenue of 5 years. Nobody asks for 10-year forecast these days because they know it's a fast changing industry. So earlier when we used to make pitch decks, we used to forecast for 1 year, 2 year, 5 and 10. But then we figured nobody's interested in 10 years. All they want to know is what is the next 2 years forecast and the 5 years. And I would also like to share that in this industry, pre-money, post-money valuation, we actually made a pitch deck for DDU once. So government of India started supporting startups a couple of years ago, and DDU was one of the nodal institutions. I'm not sure if it is currently or not. So at that
Yes,
time,
yes, it is.
it is right. So we were one of the earlier startups who approached DDU as a nodal institute, and we got a lot of support from the whole computer department, especially CKB sir. That after even after a couple of years, they were actually helping the alumni to get the whole startup funding because DDU was a nodal institute. So that also they saw the initial pitch decks and they helped us with the questions and how to actually formalize it. Those were our initial experiences with the pitch deck, but you can just get your projections of the current get your current numbers in place and the projections of next 2 years. There are lot of Excel sheets online you can get which are available. If you just input your current numbers and if you input your next 2 years number, you're thinking that right now you have, for example, 10 customers a day, but after 2 years you're going to be having probably 200 customers a day, where you input such numbers in the Excel sheets and it will calculate your future revenue and the valuation. The valuation usually is either 5 times, 10 times, or 20 times your revenue, depending on how uh, depending on the growth you are pitching. Yeah.
Yes, so that was quite
Okay.
insightful. Now, any advice that you would like to give to our audience who want to kickstart their journey as an entrepreneur?
I would say start lean. I mean, if you have, if you are planning to make a website or a software or anything, start with the basic model because once you're gonna go out and approach the customer and get their feedback, you will be definitely getting the feedback that what you might have thought about 10 things, probably they only need 8 things or just 5, and they want other 5 things in a different way. So do not spend time doing all the 10 things, showing to them and everything. When you are making just 5 things, they will eventually tell you that I need other 5 things or I need other new 5 things. So start lean. Do not waste a lot of time in making a perfect or a fully functioned website. So when we started, Moipot started, we just did pan India delivery. We did not start with international deliveries because to do an international delivery, you have to support the website with international currencies, the payment gateway, the acceptance of it, the billing address needs to be changed, and everything. There's a lot of things which come into the play. So start lean, start the focus with your audience. And when we onboarded, we only had when we launched the website, MyPot only had 5 vendors to 10 vendors on board. But we started off, we did not wait for 100 vendors to come on MyPot and then start reaching out to customers. Because if you do that, you will end up losing the trust of your initial vendors who joined you. The first 10 vendors will lose your trust and lose interest in doing business with you if you're going to wait for the 100th vendor to come on board to start the actual selling of the business. So start lean, start with the basic model of whatever software or business you have in mind, be it online or offline. Get to know the feedback of the customers and improve. There will be iterations for sure. So don't waste time in doing all the stuff which is in your head.
Okay. So surely we will make note for this. And now, what do you see as the future of your industry? Like, how do you plan to stay ahead of the curve in your market?
See, e-commerce is not dying for sure. Everybody knows. And especially the pandemic made everybody digital savvy. Now everybody has a wallet, everybody has a GPay account, and everybody does stuff online. People rarely have cash. So e-commerce is not going anywhere for sure. Rather, in the future years, brick and mortar will be the one which will be actually competing with e-commerce. 5 years ago, e-commerce was the one competing with brick and mortar. But Within next 5 years, brick and mortar will be the one who will be having challenges surviving with the e-commerce industry. So that is going to change. And secondly, you, as I mentioned earlier, to stay ahead in this industry, right? I joined a lot of meetups in my area as well as in other cities as well of the startups and stay connected with them. So you have to be there amongst the startup community. You have to attend conferences and see what is the current sentiment, what is the next thing going to be, and if that next thing is going to help you, then you probably start integrating it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. So now, as we are approaching towards the end of the session, if any participant have any doubts or queries, then you can unmute yourself and clear your doubt one by one, or you can also paste it in the chat box.
Guys, don't be scared to ask any question, even if it is smallest or it is pertaining to the e-commerce industry or maybe not to the e-commerce industry. Feel free to ask. Like, don't think any question is foolish or not smart. That is one thing which I've learned. Okay, so there is
Good
first.
evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Dhruvisha.
Uh, I would like to ask you a question that as Shark Tank 2 has been very famous all over the India, why you haven't promote your Moipot on Shark Tank season 2?
True, that is a very good question, and a lot of my friends have been asking that as well. So, to actually apply to Shark Tank, there is a lot of stuff it needs to get done, and currently, my team and I are overloaded with work. So, we need to find out time to actually prepare stuff to apply to Shark Tank because a lot of efforts go into that. So hopefully in matter of time we'll figure out stuff and put in efforts to actually pitch to Shark Tank.
Yes, ma'am, sure. And I have heard your site name Moipet, so I would like to ask that from where did you get that it should be named this like this way? It is unique.
Yeah, so we did not want to actually have the word food in our name. First of all, although we deal with food, because at that time when Moipot started, there were so many local, hyper local delivery startups who had their food word in them. And so we did not want to be actually compared to them or get misjudged for being a hyper local delivery vendor because we are not a hyper local. We are not like Grofers. We are not like Blinkit, right? Who deliver stuff to you. So when the food word comes in, people instantly think about grocery or a hyper local delivery. So we wanted a word which was not related to food. So actually, moi pot is a combination of two words. One is moi and other is pot. So moi is moi in French, which means my, and pot refers to the pot full of food. So basically, the name of moi pot comes from two words, which means my pot full of food. So that is how we actually coined moi pot.
Yes, amazing combination. And one more question was that how you manage your shelf life? As you say, you are delivering internationally also. So
Yes.
I think in a sweet, it must be very difficult for you to manage its shelf life, as it might get, you know, for after a few days.
Correct. So basically, there is a thing called MAP packaging, which increases the shelf life of products without adding preservatives. So some of our so when a lot of sweets get exported outside India, right? Even if through a normal drop shipping way. So when let's say for example Malai Peda, everybody knows Malai Peda has a shelf life of 1 or 2 days. It gets spoiled. But if
Yeah.
that Malai Peda is packed in MAP packaging, which is a kind of different kind of packaging where the oxygen is actually soaked in and removed and no preservatives are added, the taste remains same, the smell remains same, even the consistency of product remains the same, and the shelf life, you won't believe, of that Malai Peda goes up from 2 days to actually 15 days. So that helps us a lot. So all the brands which we have on board, right, as you have seen, they are well established, they are popular vendors, and they are into exports because they are in this business since years. And most of the brands who are doing exports, they have MFP packaging. Some of the brands who do not do exports, who don't have MFP packaging facility, we do not accept international orders for those items. If we get an inquiry for the non-MFP items of sweets, we tell them sorry, it's not possible because it's gonna spoil. Although the vendor has been well established, still if he does not have an MFP packaging, we do not ship it internationally. And for the smaller shelf life of product within India, excuse me, so all the sweets on Moipot have a minimum shelf life of 7 days. So anything which has a shelf life of less than 7 days, we do not actually put it as a product, because we know it's gonna spoil, because we have to cater pan India as well as internationally, because the minimum delivery time is 2 to 5 working days. So products with a lesser shelf life of 7 days, they are not on Moipot. And the third thing is, whenever an order comes in, it takes 24 to 72 hours for it to be dispatched, because what happens is the product gets freshly made at the vendor's end, and that gets picked up from our logistics partner from his facility on the same day, and that gets shipped. So because the product is shipped fresh, it has a longer shelf life. It's not like it has been lying at his shop or factory since 2 to 3 days or 5 days. So the product is shipped fresh, hence it has the maximum shelf life when it reaches to the end customer.
Yes, very insightful that it says very great shelf life without even using preservatives. It's
Yes.
such a great figure out thing that it
Yes.
is have. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. So I think
Hello,
there
ma'am.
is, yes, Nisar.
Uh,
Hitan, I think, correct?
yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. My question is, what is your definition of success? Because as I am a student of computer engineering, my definition of success would be being a good coder or to achieve good marks in the exam. So, what is your definition of success?
My definition of success is what, first of all, you want to be a great coder, right? You want to get good
Yes.
marks. But
Yes.
what is it that you want 5 or 10 years down the lane? Number one, everybody wants to make money, correct? So, what field are you looking to make money in? Are you seeing yourself as more of a software engineer 10 years down the lane? Or are you more of a management person and you see yourself as a product owner? That's the new word which is there in the current industry, where a
Yes.
technology
Yes.
person who has a marketing experience and who is actually bridging the gap between clients and developers and is the product owner. So where do you see yourself 5 and 10 years down the lane? And if you succeed at that, that is the success you're getting. If you're thinking you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to have a startup, then in which industry and where exactly? Any startup takes at least 3 to 4 years to break the profitability barrier. So you have to make sure that, be it are you are an entrepreneur or a software developer, just getting good marks is a short success. What is the longer success goal? 5 and 10 years down the lane. And if you are working towards it, that is what I would say is success.
Yes. Yes. Got it, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. I think there is one question. How would you approach hiring and building a team? What qualities do you look for in potential employees? Um, my approach in hiring and building the team was, first of all, uh, we did not start hiring employees right away, because that is an overhead which you will be having every month, and you do not know what all type of personal or what all type of employees you need. For example, when we are doing marketing online on Facebook, you need one graphic designer, second you need a content maker, third you need a marketing expert who is going to be running ads. So you need three kind of people. So if we would have hired three people from the start, that would have been a lot of overhead. And secondly, I did not know what to expect from them. Like, is getting cost per lead to an XYZ amount a good or number or not? Is cost per click 2 rupees a good number or not? Or is it a big number? So initially, we collaborated with professional agencies. So we hired a marketing team, marketing company, with whom we would pay a monthly fee and who would do the marketing for us because they would have an already a team built in. So after we got the results and we got a lot of insights from them because they were professionals. After that, we knew what exactly we wanted in our team and what is the level or the what is the potential of the employee which we were looking at. So that is how we looked for the qualities, how we learned that this is actually the cost per click which we are looking. Is this person going to get the cost so down or not? And so hiring and building a team, you have to think, and you have to think 100 times before hiring your employees, because you don't want to fire them after 6 months because you are at a loss of funds. You know, if you're short of funds, you can hire, or you can just say no to the company which you have collaborated. You can say that sorry, I cannot pay the monthly fee, and you just let go of that contract. But if you hired a person who is committed to your company, you cannot say after 3 months that sorry, we cannot afford you. So that is an approach we had to hiring and building the team and looking for in the potential employees.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, Nisar.
So, ma'am, as you said that initially you hired some agencies and something like that, but there are some things which you need to do by your own. And as a you are a software engineer, so how did you learn those things? Like you just shared the experience that customers were facing issues with the logistics and supply. So means there would be a time when you mastered that thing, like how your supply chain, your logistic company, something like that. So it's means there are some resources or approaching someone for learning those things, or it would come with just experience.
So, see, first of all, you have to keep yourself open to listening to the feedback. So, when this, for example, the rat incident happened, right? I mentioned. So, we got a feedback, we got emails from the customers and everything, and we got photographs of them and all. But just getting all these inquiries uh, was one thing, but we also wanted to know what was the customer experience and how we could actually make them trust to order from us next time, even though you're going to offer a refund. But what will make them to come to your website again and order? So at that time, we got our team to actually call the customers, apologize to them in person, ask them that when the parcel came in, was it this bad, and what exactly was the condition, and apologize to them for this thing, and also tell them that you are also a new business, you are facing issues due to pandemic, and you will be refunding the money. But few months down the lane, when everything is sorted, they can trust you again. And if they face the same issue, you will be there to help them. So that is what you learn after a while. So that is what you learn ongoing. But you have to be open to the feedback. You have to go into that special scenario and talk to the people. Even if it is a brick and mortar business, not an online business, you have to deal with your customers. You have to speak to them. And also, you have to speak to your vendors. Some of our vendors were actually not packing the product properly. Our agents used to go to them, they would not dispatch on time. For example, if an order came in, we passed it on to them, we passed on invoice and shipping label and everything, and we told them that the order is scheduled for pickup for tomorrow. They would not keep it ready. And the order usually would get dispatched after 2 to 3 days. We have to do a recurring request of the pickups. The pickup guy would go to their place every day and they would find the parcel is not ready. So at that time, we reached out to the vendors and we asked them what exactly is the problem. So sometimes the problem was as small as the pickup guy actually just calling them and not actually going to their facility because they did not pick up the phone. I mean, you can't expect everybody to pick up the phone, right? So there was a problem at the logistics end. And
Okay.
sometimes there were vendors who were actually just getting not actually very much interested in packing the stuff because they are like, okay, it's gonna happen or not. And they did not understand the importance of addressing online customers as much as the offline customers. So there we actually ended up telling that. That for example, if you're ordering stuff from Amazon, let's say, you expect it to be delivered from in XYZ amount. So that is the standard which is set by the
Yes,
current e-commerce companies.
yes,
So if you yourself are going to dispatch the parcel of after 3-4 days, what will be the customer think of you? You are such a big brand. So this is actually making your brand image suffer. So we told them what is the end problem was. So we actually, this is how you actually be open to the feedback, go into the field and learn.
so
And some
means
things you will learn by only dealing with them.
that means having a feedback and surveying are the only things from which you can grow, right?
Yes, yes.
And ma'am, one thing, what if I want to order something from Moipot? What would you suggest?
It depends what you like. You like sweet or you like savory? You like snacks
Both
or
of the
sweet?
things, ma'am. Means something on the
So
sweet side.
something on the sweet side. So anything from Lakshmi Mishtan Bhandar is my absolute favorite. My favorite is Gulab Son Papdi actually currently from Lakshmi Mishtan Bhandar, because Son Papdi is, you usually have them in coconut and orange flavor, and the
Yes,
Haldiram
ma'am.
Son Papdi is filled with a lot of sweets. This Gulab
Yes.
Son Papdi is actually made with real, that desi rose flowers. So that is my
Okay.
favorite, which I end up ordering almost every year on Diwali.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
thanks for the suggestion of sweet.
Sure. So I think there's a question from Jafar saying what is the business USP and how to create an entry barrier for your competition when being in that initial stage of your business, or how to preserve your idea from market giants whilst being a startup. So see, this first of all, this preserve word, actually that is a very misleading word. You don't have to preserve your idea at all. You don't have to be like somebody's gonna steal my idea and implement it faster, because they are a big company and they have all the resources to implement anything in within just couple of days. So that is not going to happen, because your idea, what exactly it is and how you are going to execute. So be open to sharing your idea as much as you can, even if it is with your competitors. You, at the end of the day, you'll only end up getting insights from them, or you'll see how actually they are dealing with it. Our business's USP is getting the most authentic and regional delicacies of India on board and delivered to your doorstep anywhere in the world. So that is the USP on Moipot. So if you see, all the brands on Moipot are the authentic ones. So if you're ordering from Kolkata, you know that you're ordering from the genuine and the authentic brand. So the popular, authentic, and regional are the typical USPs of Molpot, and we deliver them fresh. So we do not store any inventory. It is a drop shipping model. So whenever an order comes in, it takes 24 to 72 hours for it to be dispatched. The item gets dispatched fresh, and it takes anywhere between 2 to 5 working days or till 7 working days, depending on the delivery location and the origin location, to be delivered within India. And of course, with outside India, depends on the country. And how to create the entry barrier for your competition, that is something which you should focus on once you launch your business. Try getting the initial customers faster, so that will build a lot of lot of trust for yourself as well. You feel that you are actually getting the leads. So try focusing on get many as many customers as you can. uh, like even if you have to invest heavily in the marketing for the first few months, because that gives you an overall idea of what the competition is and how you're going to attract the customers. For the initial few months, you have to keep working on your idea and your business and get feedbacks from customers as well as vendors, which will help you grow and which will automatically create a barrier for your competition, because you are acquired XYZ customer and you know this is where exactly you're going. So invest heavily in marketing your business for the first few months. That will automatically help you create the barrier.
Those were
Okay, bye.
really frank answers, ma'am. It was really nice hearing you. I, on the behalf of the entire CSI team, would like to thank Krishna Choksi ma'am for taking time out of her busy schedule to share her experience and knowledge with all of us. Thank you, Krishna ma'am. Further, I would like to thank all the participants who could make up to this event and made it a huge success. I request you all to fill the feedback form which will be available to you in the chat.
Okay, guys, and if you have any question, I'm just writing down my email ID. Feel free to email me anytime you have any question you have your any business ideas and you want to get insights or you want to get connected from somebody in the XYZ industry because I keep myself acquainted with the whole startup community. I'll be happy to connect you with whichever industry mentor you're looking or a connection you can get. All right. Thanks everyone. It was lovely interacting with all of you. And all the best for the future CSI events.
I hope that all of you have filled the
Thank you,
feedback
ma'am.
form. As this is a series of online events, we hope to see the same excitement in the second episode, which will be on 11th March, where Khadija Sikpuri will be providing insights of the off campus interviews. Moreover, if you have any doubt or queries or any event idea, then you can share it on CSI DDU 2022 at the rate gmail.com or on our Instagram handle at the rate CSIDDU. Also, you can join our Discord server. The link for the same will be available in the chat box. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Bye, Anisha.
Bye, ma.